Hi everyone, so this is our last video for chapter 7 and we're learning the law of cosines. So the law of cosines is another way to solve oblique triangles, and we use it when we're given things that are different than what we did with law sines. So here are the formulas for the law of cosines, and we use them to find sides and angles just like the law of sines, and we use it when we are given side, 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 or side, angle, side. So since we're given the side lengths and it's cosine, we can never have ambiguous case like we can for sines when we're given angle, side, side. So there will always only be one triangle. So if you're given these things when you draw your picture, you don't have to worry about trying to determine if it has more than one triangle. So if you look at the formulas, I gave you it where like moving the letters around, but it's all basically the same thing. So if you notice, if A's here, B and B and C and C. So if you're finding side A, angle A is what you'll have in here, and then it's B squared, C squared, BC. And so the pattern is there. So I would memorize the pattern more than like exactly where the letters go. The letters can be interchangeable. So we're gonna, sometimes if we're given side, 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 we're going to use this to find the angle. So we're going to solve the formula so the angle's by itself, so we can just plug it into there instead of having to subtract everything every time. So let's just use the first one. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. So what we're going to do is get it where the A is by itself, the angle A. So first we're going to have to move these over by subtraction. So we'll subtract b squared from both sides and c squared from both sides. So then those will cancel out. So we'll have a squared minus b squared minus c squared equals, don't forget the negative sign, negative 2bc cosine of angle A. So from there, we'd have to get rid of the negative 2bc, so we'll divide both sides. Okay, so we would have a squared minus b squared minus c squared divided by negative 2bc equals the cosine of A. So what would you have to do to get rid of the cosine? Very good, we would take the inverse. I'm going to flip it around and put the angle on here. So angle A would equal the cosine inverse of our fraction that we have. So when you're trying to find an angle, you can plug it into this instead of having to plug in your numbers there and then every time move everything over. It just might be a little bit easier. Okay, so let's try some problems. So we're going to start it out the same way. We're going to draw our picture. We're going to draw the picture for the information that's given, and then work on solving it from there. I'm going to use a different paper because it doesn't like the pink color of your notes. So I'm going to do it on notebook paper, but you guys can just do it on your foldable. Okay, so we were given that A, B, and C. So we were given that angle A is 42.3, angle or side B is 12.9, and side C is 15.4. So we're given side, angle, side. So we're going to make our checklist of what we need to find. So we need our two angles, angle B, angle C, and then side A. So what we're going to have to do first is find that side A, because side, angle, side, this will be, excuse me, since we have angle A in the formula, it's the side. So our formula was A squared equals B squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. So we were given b, c, and angle a. So we have everything on this side, which is why we're finding side a first. Okay, so let's plug in what we know. So a squared equals 12.9 squared plus 15.4 squared minus 2 times 12.9 times 15.4 times the cosine of 42.3. Okay, so I know that's like a giant, long, ridiculous math, but we can just type it straight in our calculator. So 12.9 squared, 15.4 squared, minus 2 times 12.9 times 15.4 times cosine of 42.3. So make sure you put the times there, or sometimes it does weird things. So I got something different than when I did it last time. 12.9, 15.4. Okay, I guess that's right. So we got 109. So a squared is approximately 109.69977. Okay, so from here we would just have to take the square root since it's a squared. So square root of the answer, we get that a is equal to 10.4738. So now we know a. So now we have to find b and c. So if you know all the sides defines the angles, we can just switch to the law of cosines. But if we start with, well, actually, let's use the law of cosine. So now we need to find, if you start with the law of cosines, you have to stay, because sometimes if it has the supplementary angles, you know, with the law of sines, you end up getting the wrong angle measure, and then it messes everything up. So always stay with whatever formula you start with. So we need to find an angle, so we'll do b first. So the cosine of angle b would be b squared minus a squared minus c squared divided by negative 2ac. So plug in everything we know. So the cosine of b equals 12.9 squared minus 10.4738 squared minus 15.4 squared divided by negative 2 times 10.4738 times 15.4. So again, this is another one we could just type straight in our calculator. Just make sure you do the cosine inverse of that answer. You could just do it from the beginning, so type in the cosine inverse and then your fraction. Don't forget the negative sign, so negative 2 times 10. Oops. So that means that angle B equals 55.9874. So,
have your attention, please. The following students I need to report to room 4302 at this time. If you're here in school,
so to find angle C, you would just subtract from 180.
Hannah Rosdos, Jennifer Calderon, Sarah Lewis, Dalton Reed.
Okay, sorry, I turned the phone off so you guys won't have to hear that again. Okay, so to find angle C, we'll just subtract the angles we have from 180. So 180 minus the given angle minus the one we just found. Oops. 55.9874. So that means that angle C is 81.7126 degrees. So that's pretty much it for using the law of cosines. Let's do one where we're given all sides. So the one at the bottom. So for this one, they give us side A, B, and C. So let's sketch our picture. So they told us that side A is 25.4, side B is 42.8, and side C is 59.3. So that means that our list is going to be all angles. So we need angle A, angle B, and angle C. So I'm going to start with the formula where it's solved for an angle. I'm going to start with angle A. I like to go in alphabetical order. So angle A equals, this time I'm going to move the cosine over before I start, like we did on the front. So it'd be A squared minus B squared minus C squared, all divided by -2 times B times C. Okay, so then you would just plug it in your calculator. So, cosine inverse of our fraction so we get that angle A is 22.0989 degrees. So now we'll set up another one to find angle B. So angle B equals the cosine inverse. So now that we're finding angle B, put B first. So B was 42.8. And then this will be A and C. Then in the bottom is A and C. And then we type it in our calculator, and that would be it for angle B. Okay, so we got 39.3401 degrees. Okay, so to find angle C, we can just subtract those from 180. So we end up with 118.5610. You could also set up one for angle C just to make sure you didn't mess up to find angle C, but it's a lot easier just subtracting from 180. Okay, so why don't you guys pause and try the last two, and I will show you my work when you guys come back after you try it. Okay, so here's what we got for the first one, and then the bottom one. So make sure if you didn't understand those two, you ask about them in class, and we'll go over them in more detail. So that's it for 7.3 in Chapter 7. Werner out.